Oh, I need to turn this off.
Well, we are live. And I'm gonna do record. Hold on. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Manifesting Your Now. I want to welcome Dr. Lulu and Coach Janine, my co-host. Welcome to. So, my Manifesting Your Now is really about we have to put God first in our business, and we got to stay present in the now. We can't worry about what happened in our past and what's to come. We got to manifest it now within the future. So we have to work on putting God in everything we do in our business, like our plans, our desires. We got to wake up to God. What is my money making thing today? When you wake up, hit the ground, saying, what is my money making goal today that's going to help me generate income? So we have to wake up thinking that way and not thinking about what didn't work yesterday or what didn't work last week. We got to stay in the now. So this is why I come up with this manifesting your now, because I woke up like at 3 something in the morning and it just came to me about manifesting your now. So I guess it was really for me, and I'm going to share with everyone else to stop worrying about what ain't and worry about what's now and work towards what your desire is. Because we think about it, God is the one that actually manifests everything in the beginning when he created heaven and earth. So he already done set the foundation. So we just got to go live in it and get our desires. He gives us our desires of our heart. So we just got to work towards it. So that's my goal. And I hope it's everyone else's goal. But I got the scripture from Job 22:28. Thou shalt also decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee, and the light shall shine upon thy ways. So that's where my scripture is coming from. So I'm decreeing the things that I want, and I'm praying and trusting God that it will come to light. So on yesterday we have Coach Roberta on the show, and she talked about the sponsorship, and we had a good conversation. We had dialogue. She kind of coach me in on sponsorship, because that's something that I'm really have a desire to have in my business, because I like to host events, and that will help me host the events that I want to put on for to entrepreneurs and business owners. Uh, she elaborated a lot on it, so y'all need to go back and watch the video. It's on YouTube. It's on my YouTube channel, Black to Black Talk Show. You can go back and watch the replay. Today, I want to talk more on business and how business relates to us on a daily, and putting God first. So I want to talk about can you share a practice or ritual that you help you stay present and aligned with your intentions in your business world? Could one of you ladies answer that for me?
Okay. Oh, thank you so much, Coach Tina. And I just want to say thank you for being obedient. That's another thing too, that, sometimes you can be able to hear something that, God really download in your spirit, but you're going to say, no, I don't think the time is over. But you are just, you jump on it and you manifest that in your spirit first. And now, today we are here with you, really, manifesting together. So I really want to applaud you and say thank you for being obedient. And also, so that's another thing that many people can be able to hear, but it's another thing to be able to execute. So I really, thank you so much for, bringing us together, really to be part of this vision that you execute and being obedience, definitely, because God going to honor that. Absolutely. So if I can just say one thing that, one nugget that I can be able to share with our viewers today and many people who will be listening to the replay, it's really being consistent, staying consistent. That really kept us, really keep going on what God really had downloaded in our spirit. And sometimes we can have also expectation, of course, but it doesn't have to stop, even though you don't see, people really embracing it right away. That's okay. Just keep going, because the right people, they will align with what what God has downloaded in your spirit. So that's one thing. Don't be discouraged if you don't see people really embracing or understanding. Just being consistent, keep being consistent, and it's gonna produce results. So that's one thing I can be able to share. Dr. Lulu?
I'm going to say, know exactly what your purpose and your assignment is, because people have a tendency to run off to the next shiny thing. Somebody says, oh, I can help you make 6 figures in 6 months. And it may be that they may be teaching that, and that might be possible, but that may not be your lane. That might not be what God has for you. So know exactly what it is that God has for you to do. Because when you jump on something because everyone else is doing it, and it looks like everyone is successful at it, and it looks like everyone's bringing in money from it, if it's not your purpose, it's going to bring more heartache than anything else. And I'm speaking to the faith-based community because, there's something about being called and chosen and given a purpose that you have to really listen and then be obedient to do the work, such as Sister Coach Tina said. Thank you so much for being obedient. Imagine had you not have been obedient. And it's not always easy to be obedient. I don't want people to think that, well, I'm obedient and everything's going to go smooth. There's going to be bumps in the road. There are going to be speed bumps that are going to slow you down. You may even experience a derailment. But here's the thing. There's always a victorious comeback from any setback that you experience. And when I love to say victorious comeback. There's always going to be a victorious comeback from any of the setbacks that you have. But make sure that you are operating in what you're supposed to be operating in, because it's easy to go and look at what other people are doing and latch on to that. And when you do that, you wonder, why am I having so many challenges and why am I struggling? Because you're somewhere that maybe, not saying that you weren't, but maybe you weren't meant to be. So make sure that you're in the space that you're supposed to be in, because that's key for manifesting. You want to manifest what is your purpose and why you were put here on this planet.
Yes, I said, Clint, I have Coach Roberta coming in. So I'll go on to the next question. How do you balance being present in the now when setting future goals and manifesting your business? Coach Janine, or Coach Lulu, whichever one.
Okay. I'm going to go out on a limb because I'm different. I break and crack the molds and I break the processes and all of that. So I'm going to say, one, I really don't believe in balance. There's no such thing as a balance. Because all things can't be, when we look at balance, all things can't be made equal. So, you're always going to be doing this when you're trying to balance. Even the most skilled person on the tightrope, he's still doing this when he's trying to balance to get across. So I would say is understand how to integrate things versus balance them. When you are looking at the different aspects of business, ministry, community advocacy, career, and corporate, whatever that is, and it may be a combination of all of those things, look at how you can integrate versus carving things into separate portions and trying to balance across them. Look at how you can integrate your family, your household into your business, into your career. If it's a career, there may be other things that people can do to help you. And it could be something this simple. It may be simple as asking someone to help do something that needs to get done in your household, but you're not going to be there to do it. It could be those things. You know, I'd like for you to be part of what I'm doing on this day. I'm going to be doing, and you lay it out there for them and enlist their help. Because the more we integrate people, and I'm not saying any and everybody, I'm specifically talking about those that are close to us, those that are either in our home life or our close friends, those that are interested in our success. If you can try to integrate and, you know, kind of help people to be a part of and understand what it is you're doing, believe it or not, they'll be far more willing to help rather than you trying to balance it all yourself and sort of sitting off in a vacuum and, oh, I got all these things to do. And then people are frustrated because they don't know that you're trying to do that. And when things start being unbalanced, so to speak, or things are kind of upside down in one way or another, then that brings frustration because people have no idea what you're doing and they don't have an appreciation for what you're doing. When you share, people have an appreciation. Believe me, when you actually take some time and share with people what is near and dear to your heart and what your purpose is. Don't be afraid to share what your purpose is, because the more you share what your purpose is, the more people will want to integrate and look for ways that they can be of support. I didn't say take over what you're doing. I didn't say, you know, muscle in and the next thing you know, your project's gone. I said they're going to look to see how they can support you more. Hopefully that helps.
Yeah. Coach Janine?
Yes, I would definitely also add something about when, you know, I'm just going to continue how Dr. Lulu, you know, was explaining, is that how you also integrate those people and really to be able to align with your vision, because they're going to follow you. They're going to follow your footsteps. So making sure that you're clear enough about the direction you're bringing people, because that's really, you know, one of the things that as a servant leader, you're supposed to be doing, like making sure that people are clear about the direction that you are bringing them. Because if they are not clear, you know, they'll be going left and right. And you, again, you will feel like, okay, I thought like I was clear enough, but definitely making sure that everybody, you know, they're going in the right direction and they're following what you put on the table and it's clear enough, and being very attentional about how you want them to support you so you can be able, you know, to continue with the purpose that, you know, really God has downloaded in your spirit. And that will bring the balance, or that will bring really a clear direction. And definitely you're going to see the outcome, you know, soon. That's what I can add.
And I'm gonna say something about the balance part, because like, you know how some of us we don't have a team. We handle things, we try to handle things by ourselves, and we don't have the extra, like, to integrate the other people in to balance your business. Because I think if you can have a consistency, I consider that balance. If it's always consistent all the time, like your plan, some things will come in and knock things out of line. But most of the time, if you have a system in place, that things will work out. Most of the time, not always, but most of the time. I know people that do have systems and they're smooth selling. So, I mean, it just depends on the person.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think we need to, entrepreneurs need to add those extra people, building our team so we won't have to do it all alone. I'm talking to myself, mind you. So you won't have to do all the things, like take that knowledge and then share with others and have them help you with your vision, help you, you know, fulfill your vision. Because, you know, we all have a vision. Usually a lot of us are visionaries. Some of us are action takers. Some of us, we all got different titles as a business owners. So everybody is not the same. Some of us are not visionaries. So I think I consider myself a visionary. I don't know. What about you, Coach Janine? Do you consider yourself a visionary?
I do definitely. I consider myself as a visionary. And one thing that you mentioned, which it's the purpose is to be able to integrate other people in our business, but is the vision or the purpose doesn't change. The system might change. You might be able to implement some different things, but your alignment, like with what God has downloaded in your spirit, doesn't change. Like the vision doesn't change. But of course, you'll be able to adapt and change because, like you said, things happen, but you make sure that your vision doesn't change. People know exactly, what you bringing on as a vision. You explain it with clarity and make sure that you are consistent and stay on it, because some people, they might come with something else, but again, you might follow them and then you won't be able to have the result that you're seeking to see. That's why it's so important that, yes, you can implement, some different techniques, but don't change the vision. Just stay on it.
Dr. Lulu, you have a vision. You're a visionary. Consider yourself a visionary. Can't hear you.
Sorry about that. Yes, I do. And for me, it's write the vision, make it plain. We know that that's scriptural, and it's very easy to sort of get an idea in your head and then you just sort of run with it. But we have to, especially when you are a visionary, because the visions can be so many and it's so big. And before you know it, you could potentially be scattered and you're all over the place. And big visionaries are typically accused of that. I've heard people say, oh, they're just all over the place. And I'm looking sort of from a distance. And I say to myself, they're a great visionary. They just need to write their visions and make them plain. And then once they're on paper and they're plain, it becomes plain for us, not so much for someone else, but make it plain for yourself. And then you can take and look at, well, how does my vision come together? How do I connect the dots? Because people have a lot of gifting in them and they have all these great visions. And some people are given larger and more visions than others. And there has to be a way of bringing it together. And so writing it and making it extremely plain. And I'm a big plotter, get some flip charts and put that out there so that it's visual for you. And then you can literally see, how am I going to connect the dots and bring this vision together? So I think that's really important.
Yeah, I had went to a workshop and it was talking about when we hire people, because I was telling them about I hire people to be assistants sometimes and they don't work out. And they was telling me that it's probably because you're hiring people that doesn't even, click with you, or like me and Coach Janine, we click. We and I you too, Dr. Lulu, but I mean, we just like, but you can go hire somebody that it's not compatible. And it's actually a chart that you use that you send out to them and they answer, then you'll know what position to put them in, or even if they compatible to your vision. And I think it was so cool how that chart was made and the questions that were asked that you even answered, and you know what you are. Usually you're two. You're not either visionary action or you are it's 4 of them. I can't think of all of them right now, but it is so cool that you can actually use this chart, give it to someone you hiring, and they answer these questions, and you'll know if they're the right fit for your business. And usually a 9 out of 10, they will work out, and you'll have them a long time for employees or a VA or something like that. So I plan on implementing that in my business, because when you hiring people, you don't know who you get. So I gotta start using that. I'm gonna I don't know if I shared that with you, Coach Janine, yet, but it's cool. Can you elaborate on how faith and trust is a higher power impacts your decision making and actions in your business realm?
Yeah, definitely. I think in our business, I mean, in everything, I think that's something that you said when we started this today. You said that we have to really put God at the center in everything, in every single decision that we make. God has to be really the center of everything. I mean, He has to give us a clear direction about, yeah, which direction to take. And even in our decision, I mean, He's our big boss. He's the first boss that we need to go and report to about how well are we doing in our business, even though, we might be in a position of leadership, but he's the one who downloads everything that we're doing. So definitely, and that's something that as leaders, as a servant leader, that we must do first before even talking to our team. He's the number one, that we come to him, you're about to do something, you're about to do like an application or anything that you need to seek his counsel, because when you seek his counsel, he's going to give you the best, even though it might not make sense to other people, it might not make sense to your team or even to yourself sometimes, but you just have to listen and really understand, and having the spirit of discernment, making sure that you understand what he's saying to you, and he's going to reveal that through his word, or he's going to speak to you very clearly so you can be able to take a decision. And I want to really go back to what you just said about really hiring people in our team. That's something I really, for most of my career I deal with, because I was also, in a position of management, and I had to lead like a big team, sometimes like 20 people, 30 people, and you have to deal with different personality. So that really shaped me and really trained me to be able to work with anybody. That's because in the beginning I wasn't like that, but I learned. Today I can definitely say I can work with anybody, because I just really read people and making sure that people I understand them. And I really also read between lines. Sometimes you may not see at first, but something that as a leader we must do, so we can now wasting people time and now really being frustrated, because again, people have different personality, and we need to be able to adapt and making sure that this person is really bringing something into the team, and we are really going to be working together, because they are coming into your team, now you come into their team. So that's another process, and that's actually another workshop that we can actually do, because this is very important, how you choose your team. So I just want to share.
Okay. Dr. Lulu?
It's really super important, and I'm going to tap back to what both of you said, when you are creating the team. And when Coach Janine described when you have a large team, and each one of those people have a different personality. And typically, traditional, I'm going to say secular, anyone that's been in corporate, they typically hone in and teach management to look at the weakness, identify, and I don't use the word weakness, it's developmental opportunity for me, but they look for what are your weaknesses. I mean, when you look at the language that's used in business today, and again, this is going against the grain, because we are not depending, we are God-centered and God-focused, not religious, but we are faith-based. So we are operating from a place that's different from where the secular world operates. And what's important about that, when we are looking to build the team, is to look for the strengths and allow people to operate in what they're strong in, and have a very diverse team. So when you have these large teams, look for what someone is very strong. And if someone has a developmental area that they need to work on, then give whatever that task is going to be to the strongest person, so that that person can mentor them. But find something for that individual to do that they're very strong at, because everyone is good at something. And when you have everyone working on what they're really good at, and then they're mentoring each other in the other areas, everybody grows. And I think that that's something that's really important, is that we're not always getting tunnel vision. There are great business practices out there, and I do not say anything against those business practices because a lot of them work. But when you are a faith-based, God-centered business, are you willing to step outside of the box that the world defined as success? This person wrote this book, and if you do these things, you're going to be successful. That's not to say that you're not going to be successful, but are you willing to step out of that box and exercise your gifting, which is different? Your gifting is what God put in you. And are you willing to take and allow God to be the chairman in your boardroom, and you're going to operate in those principles? Quick example, when I would work with my team and I would give them an example of how a project goes very well, and I use Noah. And people are like, you incorporate? Yeah, I used Noah because God was the sponsor. Noah was the project manager. And then he had all of the other people that were executing the task. But notice how God was the sponsor. God was the one giving the direction and the instruction of how to build the ark and what it was going to take. And then Noah went and found the people, and he made a plan and executed and had everyone build the ark according to what the sponsor said. I share that is that also when you're the sponsor, don't let anyone take away from what God has given you. God is the head. He's given you what to do. Remember not to let someone else come in and pull away and take what you know is that you have been given to get your project or your business or your task or purpose accomplished.
Yeah. And make sure that you have discernment too, because everybody ain't for you.
Very important. Thank you. Very important. Very important.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
and we all did made a mistake of really thinking that, oh yeah, and guess what? God might allow you to work with that person for a season, not for a
Yes.
lot, or not for. So that's something that I think all of us really made that mistake. And I for me so many. I'm like, Lord, wow. So I'm sharing, so that's something that is also you have to be transparent about that and say, yeah,
Yes.
really, for some reason, I've thought that, oh, this person might be here for a long time. But no, God was just specifically wanting to teach you specific things about that season in your life.
Yes.
And sometimes it might hurt because that's something that you really appreciate that person. You wanted to stay with that person, but if you don't listen or even you don't release yourself, then God might really make sure that you really release them. It could be the hard way or somebody. Definitely, that's something I've experienced, and I'm sure none of us have experienced that too. So, yeah.
Please say that again, because when it's time to go,
Yes.
go. When God says leave, leave. Because when you don't leave, you are exactly right. And you're going to look up and you're going to wonder what in the world, and everything is going to be out of sorts. And you're trying to figure out what is it?
Right.
Because you are caught up in, and I'm going to say you're operating in a dimension that you don't belong in. You're in somebody's portal and somebody's dimension, and it is not for your elevation. Sometimes we're in places that are not for our elevation. And to Coach Janine's point, you're there for a season, but pay attention to the signs of the season. When it's time to go, it's time to go. The birds, what do? They fly south when they have sense enough to know the season is over. It's time for me to go to another place. And so just really pay attention to that. And I can't emphasize enough. And again, thank you, Coach Tina, for this platform, because we're talking about manifesting and manifestation, standing on the principles of God.
Mm-hmm.
This is not about religion. Mm-hmm. You can be whatever faith you profess to be, But this is about standing on the core principles of the God that created the heavens and the earth. And so sometimes people say, well, that's all about religion. And no, it's not about religion. It is about understanding that we are in a different walk. And we are either not going to conform to this world and remain transformed, or we're going to conform. And if you're going to conform, that's your choice, because everything's about choice. But understand that when you're chosen and when you have something specific that God has for you to do, when you go and choose something else and to do it outside of what he has provided us as the guideline, it's going to be painful. It's going to be painful.
Yeah.
And I'm like Coach Janine, I've experienced that. We don't want to go back there anymore. We've been there, done that, and learned the lesson.
Yes. I learned too. Yeah, because I had an experience where I hired someone and they actually didn't do the work that they claimed to have done. And like I was dumbfounded and didn't know. Like I wouldn't know that they didn't do it. I'm telling you to do something that I already know how to do. So of course I know if you've done it. So it's like, where do these people come from? Where they come from?
Everybody's learning, from us, because that's also one of the things that's being transparent, like a servant leader. You need to be transparent and really share with all of these, people who are listening to you, or they really look up to you, because that is, it was really a process. I mean, all of us, each one of us really learned to really, let her go and release, even though you don't feel like, oh, but there's no I thought about. No, just release, because that's because not everybody is going where you're going. Not everybody.
Yeah. Like when people, we have to be protect our surroundings so we can stay God centered, so we can stay focused on the goal. So that so Coach Janine, can you give us final words before and then I'll give it to Dr. Lulu.
Sure, absolutely. This was amazing. This is transforming us too, in the process. So thank you again, Coach Tina. And I would just say that I hope everybody was taking some notes and really have time to sit down and to really revise your process. Since you have started this journey in your business, have you put God at the center? That's really a good question you should ask. And we're asking you guys to do that, because we're doing the same thing. And thank you again, Coach Tina, for being obedient. But ask yourself, take some time, maybe early in the morning, when, the kid and I are around, or at night when you have some few minutes before even going to bed, make sure that you really sit and make sure that, am I really doing everything that God has put inside of me to do? I know he has downloaded ideas and stuff, and asking for the spirit of discernment, making sure that you are in your season, you have people around you that who's supposed to be in your season, and just release if you feel like, I think this person, he's just not, I think his season has really, this is an overdue. Just do it. Being obedient, release people, just keep going, because God really wants you at speed that he wants, and making sure that you align with what he has done. And that's why I think Coach Tina has really been obedient to do these 3 days and make sure you really align with what has put in your heart. That's my last word. Thank you again, Coach Tina.
Thank you. Dr. Lulu?
Thank you so much, Coach Tina. This is really needed. There's so many things that we need to talk about, but we never do, because no one wants to admit that they're not where they project that they are. And no one wants to admit all the mistakes that we made. And people are afraid if they say something, oh, I'm going to be outing someone. You're not outing anyone. We're sharing what our experiences are, because this is the real deal. People are going to run up against real issues. And when you are operating in the spirit realm and you're abiding in the earthly realm, and I think that's, Coach Tina, I'm so grateful for your obedience, because that's a big piece that people don't understand. Yes, we are abiding in this earthly realm, and we're even doing our day-to-day work in this earthly realm, but we are in the spirit realm as we are executing. We have to execute through the spirit realm. And I would say that understand that meditation and prayer are two different things. And meditate. Coach Janine was saying, make sure that you're hearing from God. But in order to hear, you have to understand the difference between prayer and meditation. Meditation is when you are quiet and you are listening. And guess what? It's not the easiest thing to do, because we tend to, I don't hear anything. Oh, God didn't say nothing yet. And then we're ready to get up or move on, or we're ready to start talking. Well, God, I need you to do this, and I need this, and I need that. Yes, we're supposed to make our petition known to him. That's scriptural. He tells us to ask and it shall be given, to seek and we shall find. However, then there comes the time for the instruction, and you can't hear the instruction when you're talking and asking. And that takes a discipline. So I would encourage people to set aside when you want, this is Coach Tina has titled this, Your Manifesting. When you want to manifest something, you must carve out time and listen. And don't get impatient if you don't hear something the first time. Just continue to go into that place where you are quiet. Everything's disconnected. Don't, I caution, do not pick up this device or have it in the room when you're meditating. Take it, and there's nothing in this world that is more important than you hearing from God when you are a God-centered, faith-based person. So just know that you absolutely have to include meditation, and you have to hear from God, and you've got to develop that discipline if you want to manifest what God has for you.
Yes. My final words is I was, like you were saying, Dr. Lulu and Coach Jean, you have to seek God first, and then ask him, what is the plan you have for me on my journey? Because if you don't, and you don't sit down and pray about it, I don't mean just pray like, oh, Lord, thank you, and I need this and I need it. No, you need to get into that prayer and ask him. You got to ask him and loud and clear so he understands. So write it plain, but also tell him about what you want him to manifest in your life, because he's the one gonna manifest it, and you got to put some action behind it so it'll happen. Because it don't happen on its own by just saying it or praying or just meditating. You got to put some action to that. You got to put some action into that too, because it don't just happen on prayer and meditation alone. It don't happen just saying manifest. I'm gonna manifest this in my life. Action is included in all that. So I want to make sure I don't leave that part out. Some action got to happen too. Now you got to put some action into this.
Absolutely, absolutely. Faith without works is dead.
Well, yes, it's dead. So, well, I thank both of you. I thank you, Coach Roberta. Did you have anything to say? I don't think so. Well, thank you, ladies, for coming on. I appreciate y'all coming on. And
thank you. I'm just listening in. I'm taking it all in as I'm thinking about going full-time into my business as a business owner. So I am just taking notes. Thank you for having me.
Okay, thank you for coming. Yes, so thank you, ladies, for coming. We have my third day is tomorrow. If y'all can join me again, I appreciate it. I'll have another discussion on something else. It's to help the entrepreneur, the business owner that has been struggling, thinking that God is not in the plan or not helping them along the way. Yes, he is. If you go to him, it will happen. But always not on your time. It's also sometimes it's on God's. It's God's plan too. He really won. When we was born, he done already made that plan out. And he just is looking for us to take the step in the right way and live out our purpose. So thank you, ladies, and have a blessed day.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Coach Tina. And please, if everybody listening to us as also as a replay, invite somebody tomorrow so all of us can
Yes.
be able to get all these good nuggets. Okay, share this video so everybody can be able to jump on and really join us so we can manifest together. Thank you again, Coach Tina.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Coach Tina.
All right.